Hello, this is my initial impressions review of a new camcorder that's just come out. It's the Sony HDR-CX550VE. This has only come out in the last couple of days, and I bought it really before I saw any reviews online. So I thought, okay, seeing there weren't many reviews, I'll do one of my own. This camera, as I said, it's only been out the last couple of days, and it's the 2010 model. It's a full HD camcorder. I was actually looking at buying a Canon HFS10, which is also a full HD camcorder, and right up until the last minute, I actually decided to go with this one. And the reason I did that is, I guess the spec wise, this has 64 gigabytes of inbuilt flash, and the Canon only has 32. But that wasn't a major factor. What really sold it for me was when I compared them side by side in the shop. The Sony has got its new proprietary lens, but it's a wide lens, so you can fit a lot more in the shot. I did a test. I had the Canon and the Sony doing the same thing. I had the camera pretty much maybe a foot away from my face and away from my wife's face, and the Sony pretty much picked up everything in the background as well, while the Canon, I had to step back about another yard to actually fit in the same amount of information. So the wide lens was a big factor. The other thing that was really impressive, I thought, was the actual LCD screen, which I'll show you. It's 3.5 inches, which is fairly huge actually, and it's a fairly high resolution. And compared to the Canon's 2.7, it was just so I couldn't really see myself using the 2.7 after I've seen what a 3.5 looks like. In fact, I think the new models of the Canon are going to have a similar size screen, 3.5 inches, and they're also using the touchscreen technology, whereas the current Canons, or the 2009 models, still use that little joystick, which is a bit fiddly. Yeah, so in terms of my initial impressions, I haven't really had a good chance to use it. I've only just charged it up and had a quick play. Similar to the Canon, it's got this manual control at the very front, if you can see that you can spin around, and you can adjust things such as the autofocus, or the manual focus rather, the exposure, anything like that. There's a whole heap of settings. It's pretty simple to use. You just press it in for a second, brings up a menu on the screen, you just turn it around and select the option, and then once that's enabled, you can just spin it around to change that setting as you go. It also does still photos, 12 megapixels. It's got GPS tracking, which is pretty cool, although when I check it, it tells me that I'm in Sydney, whereas I really am in Melbourne, which is about something like 500, I don't know, 1,000 miles away or something. It's a fair distance, but that's no big deal. What else has it got? I'd say probably the only negative thing that I've found so far is probably the plastic, these plastic things at the back here. You can see it on the camera. So when you plug in the power, you bring that little plastic thing down a little bit. It seems a little bit cheap and flimsy. I can imagine that breaking if I'm not too careful, so that's one little worry. Also, compared to the Canon felt a lot more high quality in terms of the plastic that was used, whereas this one feels a little bit cheaper in terms of the plastics, but spec-wise, double the memory, bigger screen, touch screen. It's got a better image stabilization system. It's got the bigger lens, or the wider lens. It's just got a lot more things, a better low light recording than the Canon. It's got a lot of things that swayed me towards getting this one. So that's pretty much my high level initial impression. The next step for me is to start recording and putting some those recordings on the computer and seeing what they look like. But initially, I'm pretty happy with it. The menu system is really simple to use using the touch screen. It took me about 1 minute to work out what I was doing. So overall, I forgot to mention, it's got a viewfinder. And this is a feature that a lot of cameras have been missing lately. I think companies have been trying to save a little bit of money, but obviously they've been getting some feedback that people still do like using the viewfinder. It obviously saves a little bit of battery time, and if you're shooting in really bright areas where you can't see the LCD screen, you can put your eye up to the viewfinder. So that's another advantage. There's really so far very little negative things on this camera that I've found, but the next step will be doing some recordings and seeing how they look. But anyway, that's my initial review of the Sony HDR-CX550VE.